So let's start in a meditation for the new moon, with the new moon energy. And to me, like I'm wearing black, it's very new moon energy is sort of the shadow, right? It's the inside of the yang. The full moon's big, bright, white light. The new moon is a shadow behind. And so that is in this meditation too. So as you move into your meditation, just feel yourself start to quiet the mind and become more still. And whatever's been happening this week, which has been everything, right? There's so much going on. So much going on. We're going to, for right now, just put it all down. We're just going to put it all down. So that for this little hour, for this time, this sanctuary, we're not bringing the world in to our sacred space right now. We're putting it down. We're leaving our shoes by the door, right? And our thoughts by the door, and our fears by the door, and our worries by the door. So that we can be here now, and we can be present to this experience and how we are, because we're still in those Cancerian new moon, blue new moon energies, where we get to again work with these energies of self-care and nurturing and really helping yourself right now, feeding yourself well, resting well, moving well, everything with a lot of consciousness like a mother does with her children. It's very caringful, right? We're being caringful, which is really different than being careful, right? It's caringful. And we want to be caringful with our body and our yoga, in our meditation, in our lives. We want to be full of care. So let's use that note to begin with, caringful. Om. As you start to enter the space of your meditation. And as I say, the idea of being caring, full of caring for yourself, for your family, for your community. As I'm saying that, just notice what lights up in regard to maybe not caring, where we're not taking care as well as we could, or where we could care more or take care better of our inner life or our outer life. How do we make the time to take care of ourselves during these times? And as I'm asking, answer. Let yourself answer, not your thinking, not your logical mind right now, but it's that impressionistic mind. Like if we shook the magic 8-ball, some phrase would come to the surface, right? And it might be eating better. It might be walking. Walk. Every day, take a walk. It might be meditation. Big, bold. Right? But let it come up and float to the surface of your awareness. Where could you be better taking care of yourself or others around you? But first you, right? How can you better take care of yourself? And just take note. These are great little checks to see how you are and what you need these days. It might be to talk to somebody, right? To say something that's in your heart. To share how you feel about something. It might be to call somebody. Tell them you care about them, right? Or heal something that needs healing. That might not be you, it might be another. But whatever it is, just really trust What came up for you? Knowing that we're coming into another phase and a deepening and a more mature taking care, right? We get to do it twice, so there's a maturing in that relationship of now what does that mean to take care? Now what does that mean? And meanwhile, just still putting the world down as it comes back into your mind of things you need to do or things that you've been listening to or being influenced by, and just put every single thing down. Because right now, there's no place you need to be. There's no place to go. There's nothing we need to add to anything, to this moment. Because this moment is inside itself perfect, like it is. There's no place to go. Nothing to bring or get. Nothing to think about right now. Except this moment of awareness and the deep, deep silence of new moon energy. And just ask this gentle question. What can I let go of right now? What am I willing to let go of? What would be good for me to let go of? Could just be, worrying. But whatever it is, what can I let go of now? What would be good for me to let go of? And just note what that is. And then in your mind's eye, in that same sort of this and that feeling, what am I moving towards? And how will, in my letting go of that, inspire or allow for that happiness that I wish for, or that is around me, or that is right there. It's just maybe a tiny bit out of reach because this is in the way, this thing I need to release. Right? This thing I need to release for this thing that I really want to develop in my life. Just sense what that is. And then on this new moon, so be it. Just let it be so. And let it be easy. So for whatever you're letting go of, let's say it's something big. Can that be easy? Yes is the answer. It can be easy. When the timing is right, the fruit falls from the tree. And just sense that the timing is right for whatever came up for you today to release, that it will be easy to do, not a struggle. And just allow it for the gain of your wish come true, of what you really want, of what you want to make more in your life, to create more fulfillment and more happiness and more sense of purpose and meaning in the life. And just imagining that all of that in your mind's eye, of that thing that you're wishing for, that you're desiring, that you're creating right now. And just feel it like this. Click. And it is so. And it is so. It's already so. New moon magic. Good, and then when you're ready to, letting your breath get deeper and fuller. until it starts to feel natural to transition out of this meditation. Good. So welcome everybody to our beautiful yoga class, our Mondays on Zoom. It's been so amazing. So we left off last time on butterfly pose, tree pose, remember? Exploring the pelvis, I called it. And we were talking about the rocking in and out of the femur and the joint inside the pelvic line by using all these poses that sort of demonstrated that. And I'm going to take it a little bit deeper today, or a little bit more in, and to focus on, and I'm going to start with this image. This is where we were working a bit, right, with tree pose. And this opening of the leg moving outward laterally. And so we're going to do some lateral movement of the hip again. And we did a lot of this last time. But we're going to do a little bit more because I want to do it more with some power to it now. Okay? So then the next thing, so we're going to start it, or we're going to work with also triangle pose. So triangle pose is such a beautiful image. And this pose, she does it so well. And what I like about her pose, if you think of her spine, this is the end of her tailbone right down here, and this is the back of her head. She's got a very straight line from the back of her head to her pelvis. There's very little round in her spine, just a little bit. You can see it in the back view here too. So there's the back view, here's the front view. And if you look at this side, here she is in kind of a, let's see, open-legged extension, right? So this is the pose that triangle eventually turns into. So there's the spine, straight up and down, right? Just straight up and down. And then she turns, in the next one, she turns her foot out, because she's going to take triangle pose, and her spine is still pretty straight, right? Oops. And then, finally, she takes the pose, and her spine goes off to the angle, right? And you can see her coming off to the angle. So it comes from a standing Tadasana that triangle eventually turns into this from a straight spine back. I just wanted to show you how that looks, how straight her spine is, how straight her legs are. I mean, it's really a perfect pose. And then what we're going to also play with is half moon. So half moon is an extension of triangle pose. And this pose comes from triangle pose, and it's the same deal, that now her spine is straight just like it was in triangle, but now it goes all the way to her foot. So I know I'm not showing that great, but if you look over here, here's triangle pose. Okay, so it's come from there, she then bends the knee, and then she pops up. Okay, so we're going to play with that a little bit. And we're going to start, and I'm going to show you one more pose, and then I'll stop showing this. There's so many things I could show you, though, and I really love looking at images like this sometimes. Let me just see. So here's triangle anatomically. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. There it is. There it is. See that? So you can see the muscles that are being mostly asked to work, right? And you can see her straight legs, and this is just so you can see the bones and how they're moving in her straight spine. And then I wanted to show one more, because this is the pose we're going to start with today. Okay, so here it is in on the knee. So it's the same pose, and it does much of the same thing, but you can see the muscle usage, the spine usage, and all of the, so everything that we're doing today is going to be exploring the side body, right? So let's start, let's stand. So standing forward. So let's just start like this. Have your legs apart, just like we saw in the image. And now the spine is up and down, straight, okay? So the spine is up and down. My nose is right lined up with my pubis. I'm just one straight line. And I'm just practicing lifting the spine up. So that's all I'm doing right now is keeping the spine in a really straight line. And we're going to do just how that image showed. We're going to turn the right foot out. Boom. Oops. I'm going to start that again. We're going to turn the right foot out. And I'm still, and even though my leg has turned outwardly, I'm still keeping my spine straight. So when I open my leg out to the side, I'm not tipping over. I'm staying straight up and down. Okay? So the foot's turned out, the body is lifting, and then I want you to start to just a little bit go into a side motion. Not too big, just coming long. So you're just coming long along it and keeping that straight leg active. Well, both legs are straight and both legs are active. And just play with your hand on your hip and maybe resting on your thigh somewhere lightly. You're going to think of, because as soon as the leg turns out, the body wants to go with it. So what I want you to do is to turn open. Okay? So let it relax and then turn it open again. And relax and open and twist the spine gently, just gently. And relax and open. Stretch. Good, that's all. And then come back up. Change legs. The other leg foot turns out. The spine is straight at first. Hands are on your hips. And then you're going to move towards the turned out leg a little bit until it naturally stops, keeping this leg really, well, both legs really straight, but especially the leg you're coming on. Now, if you have issues on your knee, or just for whatever reason feel this is too straining, you can always just bend the knee a little bit, right? But if it's all right, you're going to work it straight. And then shoulders are back, and here we go again. We're going to inhale, open, turn, and then relax it. And inhale, open, turn. I'm really pivoting, turning from the tailbone, and relax it. And then one more, here we go. Inhale, open, twist the ribs around, just gently, right? Just not going down really deep right now. And then come back to the center. Good. And then bring your legs together and rest. Okay, so now, Wendy, you're going to do the same thing again, okay? So you're going to skip this next one. Everybody else, come on your knees. Wendy knows why. She hit her leg. That's all. Not a big deal, but enough that it would be hard for her to sit like this. Okay, so we come to here, and then that first leg comes out to the side again. And my spine is straight, so I'm still working tailbone, back of the head all in one line. And we're going to start by going into flexion at this leg. And we're trying to, another thing is trying to keep these hips square. There, that's square, right? So I'm just squaring the hips, aligning my vertical spine, and then we're just going to a little bit come along that leg in flexion. And this is very triangle-like pose, Trikonasana. I'm just sort of working this leg really straight, opening up the hamstring, opening up the calf, lifting your waist, come back up, again inhale, and exhale and out again, just a little bit. It's not a big movement. You won't be able to move that far. You're going to feel this under your knee a lot, under your thigh, and inside the thigh maybe too. And I'm also trying to not lean towards that leg, so I'm rocking around, just like we just did. Relax a little bit, inhale, open. Relax a little bit, exhale. Open, twist. One more time, relax a little bit. And open, hold. And now point your toe maybe to the ground. If that doesn't work, skip it. If it feels good, go with it. Good, and flex it back and change sides, opposite leg. So now your knees come together, the other leg comes out to the side. I'm just getting my balance here a little bit. See this hip, how it wants to be high and how then my spine kind of curves off, right? So I've got it, see that hip right here, this up hip drops down, right? And that's a big movement in yoga. We use it all the time for a lot of things. That this hip, as soon as the leg goes out to the side, the body wants to go this way, right? But we're trying to figure out how do we get that hip down? And that makes the stretch be under the thigh more. Flex the foot. Lift the spine straight. Nose with the pubis, then lightly coming around. So I'm just kind of going down. I don't necessarily want to reach anything. I'm just reaching whatever. And then I'm thinking also of my shoulders rolling back, because it's easy to kind of get curled. It's easy to get curled and folded towards the leg. And we're trying to face forward. We're pulling both shoulders back from the tailbone to the nose. You're trying to be a straight line and just stretching. And then we're going to do those little small twists. So you're going to relax a little bit, just let it go. Inhale, open, turn the rib cage. Relax a little bit. Inhale and open the spine. Pull the shoulder back, that top shoulder. Relax. One more. And inhale and spin. From the tailbone, feel yourself making that rotation from the tailbone around. Good. And then back, and then put the toe maybe down. This may not work, but if it does, let it be in a point. If you need to still keep it flexed, do that. Try not to collapse anything. Flex the foot again back. Good. Bring yourself up. And then both legs come back. Reset and stand. Okay, so now, that was good. So now we're standing back. And we're seeing how we feel in our standing and just what has happened in our hips. And from there now, so I'm kind of piecing things together a little bit. We're going to take the right leg and turn it out. And it's just going to, and we did this last time quite a bit. We're working on tree pose and butterfly, Baddha Konasana. So now we're just going to either stay just like this, palms to the center, or you're going to take your pose higher. Your chair's nearby if you should need it. But if you don't, you're just going to take your foot up high onto the thigh and come into tree pose proper, breathing deeply. Stretching, long leg, breathing, just opening that knee out. Good. Prayer in the end. Good. And release. So we're just kind of getting into this area because we're talking about last week where we're talking about this shape. Remember, we did all these movements having to do with that. So we're going a little bit deeper into that now. Other leg. So now that other leg is going to be your swinging leg. Right? And I can just stay on my toe. I never have to go past this. But if it's going well, I might put it on my leg higher or higher. So I'm just going to decide how deep to go in this pose. Tree pose, standing. Standing straight leg. Take your time. Use chairs and sticks and things for balance if you need it. Or even lean against a wall. Good. Nice. And release. And you know, leaning against a wall is not a bad idea with these kinds of poses. And I'm not going to show that today, but that is a very interesting thing to do. And including finding yourself a broomstick or something that you can work with like this. You know, there's a lot of ways to use things around your house to improve your form and be able to take your time with your form instead of pushing yourself and trying to do this, you know, magnificent posture, but your body's not quite ready to take all that depth, right? So you want to take your time. So now we're going to take our chair. So have your chair, and we'll start this way. And I'm going to be a little bit away from it because what we're going to do is we're going to do a sideways lunge. So I've got my foot on the chair. And now, if you can see my bending knee, it's easy because if I'm tighter, my knee, which means I'm pinched in here, this knee will like to be forward. So what I'm trying to do, because it's easier on this chair, is to start to just open up this inner thigh that inserts all the way at the groin, all the way to the outer knee, right? And I'm standing really straight up and down on my standing leg. And the thing is, though, let's say I'm tighter in this. So somebody that would be tight in this would be someone that would have trouble with cross-leg poses, right? And the knees would be high. So what would happen sometimes to get this knee back, watch this leg, right? So my leg is this leg has rolled in, but nothing has happened here, right? So what I'm trying to do is isolate that. I'm not going to let this follow. I'm going to keep my leg going, and just whatever it means that this leg opens out and I get that inner thigh opening. I'm just trying for that, seeing how that is. I'm breathing there. It's good. I just keep stretching up and out. So you're using your abdominal muscles to lift out of the pelvis and hips, and this knee is opening. That looks pretty good. Good, and then relax, and then bring the leg down, and just feel the difference between your legs for a moment as you just have done that. And then we're going to change sides, so either move your chair or move yourself. So now we're going to go the other way, and then we're up again. So what I'm really trying to do is keep my pelvis square to front, and then whatever's going to happen here is going to depend on my flexibility. The other thing I'm a little bit thinking of, because if I'm very tight in my hips, see the line of my shirt now, how it's angling. I'm trying to get that hip down, right? So then, do you feel that as you drop that thigh down, the glute has to stretch down here. Can you feel that? And at the insertion of the hamstring. And then my hips will square from here, and kind of throwing my body in an arc over here, over there. I'm dropping this hip down and then lifting the spine up, right? And then maybe my knee, and I sometimes will just lightly, not push or force, but just incline it, that it's going that without letting my hips follow. My hips are still really square, and just whatever much this can go today. I'm just letting that happen. Take a couple of breaths. This is good. You feel that? It's nice. These are really beautiful poses. All this could be done in balance without a chair, of course. Be much, much harder, because this chair, we can just lean on it, kind of. Come down, release. If we were doing it freestanding, it would be much more challenging. So we're going to take it around again now. So now, I'm going to go to the first side. Okay? But this time we're going to change it a little bit, and the choices are going to be a couple. One is, you have three choices. One, same thing, open the knee. Two, extension. Three, up extension. Okay? So you're going to pick which one of those feels like the one to work with, either on the high rung, the low seat, or with the bent leg. And this is better if you're modifying for back reasons. If your lower back's been bothering you, I would just work it here. Or if you've got a knee issue or anything, work it like this. And I'm going to show it, at least for now, on this one. It's kind of in the middle. Because now what I want to do, to this again. Okay, there's my square hips. I know they are because I'm standing. But the minute that my leg wants to go up, right, I go, right? So I'm trying to figure out how, that even though my leg is up, how do I keep this squareness so that I'm not riding up? Oops, see, like that? So, and see how my body will kind of go off too. I want to stay right over. I want to still be in Tadasana, basically. And then this is true too. So I've got this line, and I've got this line. I can also use a stick if I feel insecure about the balance. I can use something here, right? Or I can be here. So I want you to figure out which feels right to you today. And then your spine is really going to go up, and then you're going to a little bit take these triangle to the side on a chair. So on this pose, we're just looking for an side extension, and you should be getting a great big hamstring stretch, calf stretch, knee stretch, everything. And then let's take it out with the arm too. So now my arm is in the same line as my leg is, right? So I'm straight, right? Just straight, straight. My arm is extended. They're parallel lines. My arm line, if I made my arms, I'd be in the same plane as my leg is, right? But I'm going to let that be down and just stretching through and then come up. Nice. And down. Beautiful. Feel the difference between your legs again. So probably the hardest thing, change sides, is this idea of the hips staying square somehow. So when I bring the leg up, remember we have three choices, 1, 2, and 3 on the top, right? So I'm going to work it here, as this is sort of an in-between place. the foot's flexed, the hips are square. And, right, so that's the hard part, is right here. How do I get articulation in the hip joint? To drop the hip down and sort of tuck the left buttock forward, and just a little bit squeezing it forward. This leg's really straight. And then go up and heel, straighten this leg and come out a little bit. And it doesn't have to be far, it probably won't be that far. Right? And then here we go, take that arm out. Parallel lines we're looking for. Right, parallel lines. Breathing long breaths. Look up at the hand that's in the air. This is a variation on triangle pose. Good, come back up. Bring it back and reset. Nice. And then take a breath again and just see how you're doing. So these are all hip openers basically, and hamstring stretches, big hamstring stretches. So now we're going to go to the first side again. And I'm going to use the top of my chair this time, but I want you to pick the version again, either the bent leg, the seat, or the back of the chair. And then I got that same problem. So whatever pose I've chosen, what I'm really wanting you to focus on is, see the line of my shirt so you can see how crooked I am. I'm really dropping that joint down, keeping the leg straight. Notice how flexed that foot is. And then lift the spine. Here we go, inhale. So whichever I chose, bent leg, seat, foot, straight leg, or higher extension. And then you're just going to come out a little bit. And towards the foot you're reaching, and keep that standing leg really straight. And breathing deeply. Really power up that standing leg because you're using it. Come back up, inhale, stretch up. Good. Square up your hips again if they come out. Good. And then bring the leg down, reset. And just see how that's going. Good. Tadasana in between. Right? Opposite side. Just like now we're going on the other side. Bent legged, foot on the seat, foot on the back of the seat. You pick. Now we're talking about this hip again. See how it wants? This is probably a lot of people in this pose, then the head curls in, right? Trying to get back to straight again. Well, when that drops down, then see how it happens to my spine? So here I am wrong, curled up, and my spine is curled up too. But when I drop that hip, my spine can straighten with it better. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Out a little bit. Doesn't have to be far. Just whichever much. Just kind of feel the pose. Keep opening up the chest. Full deep breathing. Long deep breaths. Open, open. Shoulders back. Good. And back up again. Good. And down. Reset. Nice. So now, in between of that now, open your legs about like this. 3 feet, 3.5. Your feet turned out. And just take the knees, and it's the same thing. So the knees, when we're tight in the hips, they kind of want to roll in this way, right? So we're trying to get them to go out. From up here, though, don't think of rolling your knees out or your feet out. Think of taking the head of the femur and rotating it out, and then just dropping down into a little bit. So when you look at yourself in this, you shouldn't have your feet farther out than your knees, or in this way is even worse. This would be the worst thing you could do for your knees. Too much pressure here on the ligament. So you want to be right where the distance is that your heel and your knee line up. And you just drop down into it. And here we are, opening the inner thigh again. We're practicing rotating the thigh bone out. That looks good. Breathing. Good. And just prayer for a moment. Full deep breaths. I'm lifting my toes, I'm on my heels and the ball, and then straighten up, stretch up. As a resting pose, toes turn in and come forward bending. So I'm going to come down. I could also use my chair. So I could use it like this in front of me. I could use my hands on it and rest my forearms on it, or my fingers on it, right? Or I can just skip it. I can use the ground. So I can use anything. I can even use the back of the chair is really good to do sometimes, and work it flat back. But all of these stretches that I'm showing are hamstring stretches. So you can pick the level of the intensity that you want by how far down you go down the chair, or if you use the floor. So we're really stretching the back of the calves now, the back of the hamstrings. Good. Take your hands on your hips and come up, inhale, stretch up. Push your feet down as you come up. Nice. Good, and bring your feet together. Reset, Tadasana. So now you're in Tadasana again, feet together. Now notice whatever you're noticing about how hard that was, how easy that was. There's balance involved in almost any pose if you start to think about it, and triangle pose definitely is one of them. So we're going to do triangle pose proper now. So we're going to take the legs apart, pretty wide, not really wide, but pretty wide. And you know, it's not a bad idea to use your chair, because I'm just going to show you briefly. If I take this pose, I can take it down into the pose, but let's say I'm a little tighter, or I just want to really work on my spine being straight. I might want to use it at a different level, right? Or come all the way down. So from your standing, or you can use a block, and I'll show it that way too. So the foot turns out, the arms extend, and then I'm going to come out over that leg. I can use my hand on the block, on the chair, on the side end of the chair. I can lower the block. I cannot use a block at all. So you're going to see which of these feels the right pose for you today. Full deep breaths. Keep breathing. Keep opening up the chest. Full breaths. Really strengthen the legs. Tighten the quadricep of your standing front leg. Come back up, inhale, stretch up. Good. Change arms down for a moment. In between, feet are turned out a little bit, and you're going to drop down through this again. So when you drop down, can you feel how the knees want to fall in, right? But you are not doing, you're really pressing them open. Yeah. And then the knees are wide. That's really good. And then I'm going to come back up again, turn my back foot in a little bit. I'm going to rotate everything the opposite direction, and then start to come. Along this leg, I can use my chair on this side, the top of it, the middle of it, the block, right? Or my own leg, and then stretch. And just see which way you wish to do this. Really keep that standing leg strong. And turn the torso as much as it will. The torso is rotating. The belly button is facing up and towards the ceiling, so imagine it rotating internally. Full deep breaths. Good. Nice, and come back up, push up. Plain old triangle pose. Toes in, fold forward, tighten your thighs as you come down. Find your chair or the ground and stretch. I generally, and most of the time, work flat back because I've had back issues in my life, so I'm always trying to get my back better. So I tend to work in straighter spine positions, but not always. It depends. So you can play with it, you know your spine better, but you're definitely working your legs really active. You can bend your knees if you need to, of course. And then when you're ready, take your hands on your hips again. Inhale, push your feet down to come back up. So stretch up. Good. Nice. Good. And bring your feet together. Tadasana and standing. So with your hands by your side, shoulders back, crown of the head's extending, and just feel your feet press down. Close your eyes and just steady up. Now you're really steady, strong legs. So now I'm going to show from behind. So there's my stick, right? Tadasana. From tailbone to the back of the head is a straight line. And when I open my legs up, we're going to do triangle pose one more time. And what I'm trying to do is I'm going to turn my foot all the way to the right, and then I'm going to keep that stick aligned with my spine. And I'm only going to go so far as I'm still true to this stick. So I've got my head resting on it. Now you might not have that stick, but it's the same thing. You're not letting your spine round or bend. You're trying to keep it really straight to it as you come out. Coccyx to the back of the head. I'm breathing, opening up the shoulders. Come back up, inhale. Good. Opposite leg. Big breath, inhale, lift, and exhale, and out. Straight as your back can be. So I'm going to do this wrong in a moment, just so you can see the difference. So what I don't want you to do is like this. You see how my spine, my headline, my tailbone are not in the same plane. Now watch me fix it. The hip, remember that drop the hip thing? I drop the hip through. My spine follows the plane. And I just go however much so that I'm really true to the spine. I'm always protecting the back. Right? Come back up. Feet together. Bring your feet all the way in. Could you see that a little bit? It's hard to show that, but and it's hard to do that. So don't feel bad if it's not quite happening. You know, we're just doing the best we can. That we're trying to get that spine like pristine Tadasana, even though we're going off to the side. So now we're going to go to the first side one more time. So this time, so here comes an advanced pose. And I think I'll show it to you straight first. So the pose goes like this. It goes into triangle. Walks around just in case. Triangle pose, boom, boom, boom. And the extension happens, the leg bends, the hand lands, the hand lands, the hand lands. Right, I can pick what I want to do here. And then you find, let's see, I'm going to use a block for now. Then you pop up. I'll use the chair because it's right there. And this back leg extends. So here the chair is really easier to work with because I can really focus on getting this hip, see this hip, up and back and behind me as much as it will, right? And I'm really flexed through that leg. Both legs are strong. And then I come back down. So it's not an easy pose to do. Don't feel like you have to even do it because you could just do triangle one more time. Or you can try this half moon, it's called. So, legs apart. Arms extend, inhale. Right foot turns out. Exhale, triangle. So first just take triangle pose and just let, this might be where you leave off, right here. But if you want to, bend that leg. Hold on to the ground or your block or the chair. Transfer the weight. Lift the back leg and possibly the top arm. And breathe. Hard pose. Extending, extending through that back leg, heel flexed. Bend the front leg. Transfer the weight back. Triangle pose, everybody. Inhale up. Wee, right, hard. Stand back. Take a breath. Everything turns. Inhale. Exhale. Out. This side's different. Take your triangle. This might be the end of your pose. Some of you are going to bend that leg. Transfer the weight. Catch the ground. The back leg extends, or your chair or your block. Back leg's really lifting and flexed. Full deep breath. Top arm maybe goes up. Standing leg super strong. Full deep breaths. Push through the heel in the air. Bend the front leg. Triangle. Inhale. Toes in. Exhale. Forward bend. Wee, wow, right? Some strong poses. Maybe you haven't done that one for a while. And just let yourself stretch out the back of your legs. Breathing into the back of your knees. And then one more while we're here. So while we're down here, bring one hand right down underneath your nose. So your hand's right under it. And I can also use my chair again, or I can use my block, one block higher, right? Kind of want to be flat back. This elbow straight. And then push off and rotate away. Keep your legs really active and strong. Bring your hand back to your chair, to your block, or to the floor. And pivot. Really straight arm underneath of you. Good. And down. and relax. Let your head drop. Let your neck relax. Let everything go. Nice, beautiful poses, everybody. Take your hands on your hips and inhale and come up. Good. Stretch your shoulders back. Roll your shoulders back. Really stretch them. And then just while you're up here, take your arms back and maybe stretch them back towards each other, or if you can reach your fingers, interlace them and stretch your elbows. Shoulders are really rolled back now. Really opening. Good. Drop your hands, let them go. Good. And then bring your feet back together. Tadasana. Ta-da. Feet together. Really good. And just see how you're feeling from what you just did, which was a lot. So you're kind of taking it easy now and just sort of find it back out. And all you're going to do now is bend the first leg. And you're going to let it rock open again. And just let it turn. This is shades of the last class that we did, where we're really working on letting the femur open. Of course, all these poses, it's not a knee movement at all. The knee is the lever, but it is not the initiator. The initiator is inside the joint. So I'm just letting that happen. Change size. The legs bent, my hips are square, and then I'm just seeing whatever much. So all these poses open up the lotuses, because, and especially standing poses. And it really helps. You'll see when we do a lotus in a minute how different maybe your lotus even feels, just from what we've been doing so far. Good, and release. So now we're going to sit down. So we're going to take our blanket, or blocks, or pads, or whatever you're using. And we're going to sit on the height that we like, whatever that is for you. Right? And sitting up straight. And just see, because last time we're working on this pose, right? Coming from here to here, to here, to, trying to get this to be more open. See if this feels as you're coming into this from, and if you practice with that class again during the week, this will be a lot different, because seriously, it doesn't take long to change a muscle. You just have to do it, and you have to get in there right. Otherwise, it'll actually protect itself and become even tighter. So it's so important about the form, how we use blankets and blocks and chairs and things, is because we want the spine and the joints to open safely. If they're not opening safely, they'll double bind. They'll bind to protect themselves. And so you can actually do the pose and not get better at it. And that's because you're not in the right position quite. And that's why when people that are tighter in their hips, like I was, we need to be up and elevated on blankets and things so that our hips and our knees are in the same plane. Otherwise, the body will completely clench in the pelvic girdle to avoid getting an injury, right? So it's smart that way, but it also feels frustrating because nothing seems to be happening. But if you get your body in the right height for your blankets, then you can safely open. And I'll just say one more thing about that, just because it's a good time to go there. So my old pose was like this. So when I would do cross-legged positions, my legs were quite high. I felt this all in my ankles, mostly, and I couldn't get my spine straight, so I'd often sit against a wall, and it would just sort of prop me up like that, But see how my pelvis is thrown back. So what I'm trying to do is get up, right? I'm trying to go from here to here. But if my hips are tight, I just can't. I'd be stuck here. So then you use blankets, and I used to use double this to do it. But what I'm looking for, and I'm looking at this side view, is that the knee joint and the hip joint are in the same plane. That's what I'm looking for. So if my knee is up here, for instance, now that means I need to be higher still, so that my hip line and my knee line, see, this is the line I'm looking at right here, are trying to be in the same place. So I would say to this person, you need more height. So I get them higher, right? So that when they sit, even though their knees are about like this, let's say, with this pillow, it gets them equal. Can you see that? This is pretty good for this tight kind of person. Watch when I take it out. With my knees right where there. See how that is? And now I'm falling back again. So I want to be where my knee and my hip joint are in the same plane. That's all I'm looking for. This is better as a straight shot. Yeah, I'm looking at this line right here. Right? So then we're sitting up straight, and then from there you're going to take your arms out to the sides, inhale, and exhale and turn. Use your hands on either side to lift the chest. Have your nose right over the tailbone still. You're still trying, so you don't want to fall back in these because that over twists the lumbar spine. I want to stay right on the tip of my fingertips and stay vertical. Breathe the whole time. Come back up, the arms up, and switch. Exhale to a vertical. Use your fingers to help. Breathing. Good. And then come back up, stretch up. So I've gotten to a place where I slide off of these things. And that is a good sign because that means my hips are starting to open and I don't really need that blanket anymore, although I still use it just because I was so tight. So I use it like that for me right now. And then I just let myself slide off. Come to the opposite cross, so you're the other way, and you see how it's going there. I can use, remember, if I have knee issues, I can also do things like that, where it's supported a little bit, so I don't feel like I'm straining so much, or that, because let's say this is my hip on this side, and this side's pretty free, which would be really bad. This is a bad combination. Then of course I'm going to try to force that knee down, right? And that's unsafe to the knee, so it's better to protect it. So you can't do that. And it can open when it's ready to. Because if I try to make this knee catch up with this one, I'm gonna probably just keep injuring that outer ligament, see? So how do I gotta let myself go at my own rate. And this is really hard because it takes a lot of discipline in a way to not, to back up in a pose. But it's really important to know how to modify them, right? So that you keep your spine safe, your body safe, you're able to breathe. One of the ways you can tell if a pose is okay and healthy is you can still breathe in it. Right? You're just easy, natural breath. Inhale the arms up. And exhale to the first side. Twist. Same thing we did a moment ago, just lifting up. Just opening up the chest more and more. That's good. Full deep breaths. Good. Come back up. Inhale. Stretch your arms with you. Try to lift your waist. And then turn other way. And just go up, up, up. Breathing into your back, breathing into your shoulders. Good, and then come back up, inhale. Stretch your arms and stretch them up and open the spine. And just really straighten your elbows. If you can't, that's okay, but kind of go like this then, right? Because we're really trying to get the arms straight wherever they can be. And back, right? So it's a lot of opening there. So you're really opening up the chest, opening up the upper back, and then down release. Finally now, butterfly pose. Soles of the feet together. So we're coming back to that pose we worked on all last week. And we're, again, kind of going in there again, just trying to get those hips open. Keep your back really straight. And breathing. Sometimes I'll push the balls of my feet together and pull the toes back. But I'm not turning my feet, flipping them. I've got the balls touching like this. And then I just pull the fingers or the toes back. So I've got a lot of action pressing in, and the spine is lifting up. So it's really pushing strongly through the soles of the heel, the ball of the foot pushing together. And then sometimes I work them together. You just kind of play and feel, but this is a more flexed position, and it can help unlock the hip joint a little bit more. Because everything's connected. So one thing affects another thing. So when you start to kind of unlock the body, it's sort of like, a Rubik's Cube or something. And you're trying to get all the reds on one side and all the green on the other. It's like, there's a formula to it actually, and there's a formula in it to the body as well. sort of unlocking old traumas in the body, old postural habits, and we're just trying to open them all up. Bring your hands behind you so you can really keep your back straight, and including putting your back against the wall, which if you're tighter in this, I really recommend, because then you don't also have to worry about, is your back straight, right? So you can always do that. And if you're doing well and going well with it, just use your fingers lightly on the ground to really lift your spine. And then this is optional. Well, actually, we'll do it this way. Everybody can do this. Just take one arm up and just lift it. So I'm really lifting that arm, breathing there. When I lift the arm up, I want to be careful that I don't lift the shoulder up. So I'm keeping my arm in the back of the joint, like we always talk about, in the back of the joint, and then up, versus just getting it up anyway, right? I don't want that pinching in the neck feeling. Bring the arm down, switch it. So arm's in the back of the joint, the arm goes up, and breathe, stretch. So we're going to do that all again. Ready, switch. The other arm comes up, lift your upper back. If this is easy for you, take them both up. But if your knees come with that, then that's probably not the right movement. So if that's happening, use your one hand down, one hand up, and really lift. Good. Switch sides if you haven't. Both arms, maybe. In the end, this is optional. Lift the spine, let the legs drop, not go up and follow. Good, and release. Good. Hold on to the fronts of your feet and just a little bit fold forward. Breathing into it. Good, and stretch up, lift up. Bring your legs together, gently. Squeeze the legs together. Good, nice. Good, and now when you're ready to, we're going to lie down. So you're going to come back. I want to do this one, I think, today. Either you can use your foam roller, or you can use your blanket rolled up like this. And we're going to do that vertical one. I want to show you something though. One more thing. When I was talking about these rollers, these are very strong rollers, very firm and hard. They don't have any give. They're just stiff. I love these to do this on. I also love these. This is a half roller. Can you see that? It's like this one's a circle and this is half a circle. So it's like this one's cut in half. And this one's nice too because it's flat and it doesn't roll. Like when I put this one on the ground, it kind of moves, which is harder. But it's interesting because it does move a little bit. This one doesn't move and you can stay secure on it. And then I'm not going to do it with these, but just so you know, if you've got anything like this, those are really good to work with. If you don't have that, you're going to use your blanket rolled up vertically tight. And remember, you leave a little gap between your hips and the blanket start. Lay yourself along it so that your head can land on it. And part of how you know you've got this right is your head will land on it if you're not too far down on the blanket. So that blanket should be hitting you around the bottom ribs. And then you just let your shoulders open up on either side to open up the chest. Right now I've got my legs bent and I'm going to bend them right in and touch the feet together. And then I'm going to, one more time, come into butterfly. But now I'm doing it just completely supported. Inhale, the belly expands. Exhale, the belly relaxes. And just let those hips open. So much of life force, vitality comes from that first chakra area in the pelvis. And we did a whole meditation on it last time about opening up the first chakra, because that is where that life force is, and that's important to keep your immune system strong and just your sense of vitality and allowed to be-ness, right? Just the sensation of being, I'm alive, you know, that's first chakra. I'm alive, here I am. Like babies have a lot of first chakra running, right? They're just alive and they just are, so joyful and intensely present, right, in their bodies, in their life. It's all very first chakra. And second chakra, right, they have an umbilical cord connected to their mother, right? So there's like this connection there too. So there's a lot of energy down here that we often get cut off from. And so you're breathing down into the belly. Inhale, the belly expands. Exhale, the belly relaxes. And you're also breathing down into the pelvic bowl. Inhale, the pelvic bowl expands. Exhale, the pelvic bowl relaxes. So you're trying to get the breath down into your legs. So imagine that you can fill up the bowl of your pelvis with the breath. And just keep relaxing, letting your shoulders fall, the chin tucks under. The arms are just wide open on either side. And let your face relax. Now, if this gets too uncomfortable, just change the position of your legs. One way to do that, because we've done a lot of leg openings, is just to let them be bent and kind of tip towards the midline. Right? So they're coming from just apart to touching together in the center. So you can do that if you like. You can also do this in a cross-legged position. I often do it like that. It feels good to me. Because this is another way to practice cross-legged without as much weight on it. You don't have your whole body weight on it. Or butterfly, as we were. So just see which of those feels good and try to let your shoulders open around the blanket or the foam roller or whatever you're lying upon, and including just flat on the floor, right? You could do this all with nothing under your back. And breathe. Completely letting go. Now, when you're ready to, start to bring your knees back up slowly. You can use your hands to help or just pull them in. And everybody, side view would be good. Just drop from your legs being apart a little bit. Just let them tip towards the midline. Yeah. So you were wide open, then you bring them up, and now you're tipping them towards the center. And it could be intense inside the groins right there a little bit, just from turning them the opposite direction. And just stay here for a moment. Good, and then what you're going to do is turn on your side to come up. And you're going to take whatever you were lying on, your roller, your blanket, your pad, or anything. And I'm going to make it a little bit higher, or just as high as I can with this blanket. And then we're going to do one more. We're going to come lying down and have our feet together on top of that little bit of a lift. And now the back is flat on the ground. Take your hands behind your head a little bit and tuck your chin in. So you're just stretching out the back of your neck. And then lay your head back gently down to the ground. Let your arms open on either side. Breathe. Let your back relax. Let your spine resolve. And then depending on how you feel about this, you can either just stay like this with your legs still in butterfly, but more likely you're going to start to take them out and either put them over your blanket or just on either side of your blanket for final relaxation. So just find like the most ideal, like this feels really good to me today, to just let them be. And then let your chin tuck under again if it hasn't. And I'll just show another variation so you can see if you've got a foam roller, you can do it this way. Or you've got it just under your knees this way. That feels really good too. Just showing you options in case you have these options around. And you're just letting your spine smooth out on the ground. And relax your knees into whatever is there. Relax your jaw. And you can use your eye pillow across your eyes to quiet your eyes down a little bit. So this is a strong class today, a little bit, of all those standing poses. And sort of exploring triangle pose, right? Just kind of getting in there a little deeper into the hips. And just do whatever little movements that make you feel a little bit more at ease. For a moment now, clench your hands into fists so your hands get really tight. And then lift your arms off the ground just a little bit, squeezing your fingers really tight, white knuckles. Inhale, tighten. Exhale, drop them. Relax your hands. Just let them fall open. Then flex your feet and pull your toes back as hard as you can. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Pull them back, straighten your knees, inhale. And exhale and just relax your legs completely. Tuck your chin. Squeeze your face, all the muscles of your cheeks and your eyes and your nose and your lips. Tighten. And exhale, relax your face. And just let all the tension come out of your body now. Relax everything. And everything let go. Inhale, the belly expands. Exhale, the belly relaxes. And just let yourself float here for a few moments. And if you were doing this on another day, this class again, just know you could stay here for 10 minutes or 30 seconds, as long as you like, until you kind of get underneath the tension of the day. And you come home into yourself, and you feel your own life force and vitality, your strength. That for right now you're letting yourself completely relax. Especially your eyes and fingers and breath. Good. And then you can stay here longer if you like, of course. But as it feels natural to you, just starting to stretch your fingers and your toes. Until in your own timing it feels natural to begin to transition out of this meditation to turn on your side and eventually come up. Noticing how you feel. And gather yourself up into the moment. And the shoulders back and down. The spine is really straight. And just take a couple of natural breaths into the belly again and into the bowl of the pelvis like we've been working on. Inhale, the belly expands. Exhale, the belly relaxes. Inhale, the belly expands. Exhale, the belly relaxes. Memorizing what it feels like to feel all right. Memorizing what it feels like to be centered. Memorizing what it feels like to be in your life force on this new moon yoga day, on this blue new moon yoga day. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Such good work. Thank you for being here on this beautiful Monday, in this interesting times that we're in these days. Hope everybody's doing really well. And we'll see you next week.